All right, we have another trade here by the Steelers, and to be honest, one where I'm still trying to figure out the logic from both teams' perspective, which is not something you usually say with a trade. Usually, you kind of understand the logic both ways. Preston Smith, the edge rusher for the Packers, has been a very effective player for them. Isn't always the flashiest player, but is someone who has had several good years for them. He came over as a free agent when they signed both him and Zadarius Smith in the same free agency period. Had probably his best year that first season. I believe that was that 2021 when he came over, or was that earlier? Either way, that was kind of the year that I feel like he really had his best year, but has had good years prior, and is someone who, this season hasn't been his strongest year, I would say. Again, if you look at PFF grades, he's been PFF's 66th highest rated edge rusher out of 114. So been kind of middle of the road, but still an effective player for the Packers who, they do have other players that they like. You have Rashawn Gary. We'll see what you can get out of Lucas Van Ness, maybe in a bigger role. You have Kingsley Bear, maybe how you say his name, as well at the edge rush position. Of course, Gary being the star of that edge rush room. But Preston Smith was an effective player, right? He had second most snaps at the edge rush position, only about 60 snaps, but actually a little less than 60 snaps behind Gary. So he was someone who was an effective player for them. And the flip side is, the Steelers absolutely do not need an edge rusher, right? I mean, obviously, here's the thing. Sometimes people view edge rushers as you only need two guys. You need more than two guys, right? Because, very few pass rushers are out there every snap. One of the teams that has a pass rusher who's out there every snap is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have TJ Watt. He's playing, unless he's banged up or something. He's going to be out there. So you already, don't have a ton of other players who needs snaps. You didn't have Nick Herbig and Alex Highsmith, who have been very effective number two guys. So at the same time, I mean, I'm sure they have a plan for him. Preston Smith is someone who can make things happen. We still have yet to see what the draft compensation is. I'm hopeful it'll break during this video, but we don't know the exact details on what they gave up. But this is really, it feels like this is a money thing more than anything, because Preston Smith is not a one-year rental. In fact, he still has 2 years after this year, so he's going to get paid for 2024, 2025, and 2026 season, and a pretty big cap hit, over $15 million projected for this cap hit. Now, a decent chunk of the money has already been paid, right? So for the Steelers, they're not going to be taking on the entirety of that cap hit. A decent chunk will still have to be paid by the Packers. You look at his, the money that he's going to be owed after the season is just $9 million guaranteed, and then there's another, about $8 million non-guaranteed. So it could be a one-year rental if you want. You can get out of it. So maybe that's the logic here. It's an interesting, very interesting trade here. I'm assuming the logic is, the Steelers want another guy who can help out. It is always good to have pieces, and Preston Smith, at his best, a really good run defender, and I think that's maybe something they're looking at is, can they get, obviously TJ Watt is this elite run defender. Do they want another guy who maybe specializes in run defense in obvious rushing situations? I don't know. I mean, the other edge rushers have done fine there, but Preston Smith probably is now their second best run defending edge rusher behind, of course, the guy who's great at everything, TJ Watt. So I guess that's the logic. But yeah, it's interesting for the Packers, who are a competing team, moving off of him here. Maybe it's a money thing, and they feel like this will help them down the road. But that's a very bizarre move. And for the Steelers, I mean, hey, you're trying to win football games. And Preston Smith, I should mention as well, can play more than just an edge rusher. So that might be part of it as well. They might like his versatility, but still, it is interesting. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.